It was the smallest act of kindness, a $5 cup of coffee, but it changed his life forever. The morning rush at Cafe Solstice buzzed with the usual energy. Hurried footsteps, murmured orders, and the hiss of steamed milk. Sunlight spilled through the large windows, gilding the polished wooden floors with gold. Jason Wells, 27, stood in line behind a woman in a crisp navy pantsuit. She looked composed, elegant, and tired, like she'd been carrying the world on her shoulders for far too long. Jason rubbed his fingers together, trying to bring warmth back into his hands. His construction shift had ended an hour ago. He still had drywall dust clinging to the seams of his hoodie, and his boots tracked faint prints on the cafe floor. He didn't belong in places like this, not really, but once in a while, he treated himself. A cup of hot coffee before heading home to the tiny one-bedroom apartment he shared with his younger brother. The woman at the front of the line spoke softly, her voice calm, but with a distant edge, like someone constantly managing chaos behind her eyes. She ordered a black Americano and reached into her designer handbag. She frowned. Her card had declined. Sorry, she murmured, checking again, trying a second one. There must be a glitch. Jason watched the barista's face stiffen. With awkwardness, the line behind them shuffled. Some people sighed. Others glanced at their watches. Jason's stomach twisted, not because she couldn't pay, but because he knew how humiliating it could feel, having people stare like that, assuming things they didn't understand. Without thinking, Jason stepped forward. I got it. She turned, startled. No, that's really not a *. Don't worry about it, he said, offering a half smile and tapping his phone to the card reader. Just pay it forward sometime. Her eyes locked onto his deep, ocean-colored, intelligent tan. Something flickered behind them. A storm calmed. Thank you, she said quietly, then added, that's very kind. He nodded. It's just coffee. But she was still watching him. He ordered his own small dark roast and stepped aside. There was a curiosity in her expression, not surprise at the act itself, but at him. As though she had been expecting something different and had seen something more. She took her coffee and left. Jason didn't even know her name. Mara Lynn Hart, 34, was not supposed to be there that morning. Her driver had called in sick. She had decided to blend in, wear no makeup, dress simple, and see what the city really looked like through the eyes of its people. It was an experiment, part of an annual ritual she had started years ago when she first became CEO of Lynn Hart Innovations, a tech firm she had built from the ground up. People only ever saw her as the woman in the magazines, on TV panels, in Forbes, but this moment in the coffee shop was what reminded her of who she used to be. A broke student from a struggling immigrant family, building code in borrowed shoes, Mara hadn't needed that $5, but for a minute, she hadn't known whether her card had failed or someone had frozen her accounts. For a moment, she had felt powerless again. And that man, he hadn't even hesitated. No condescension, no expectations, just quiet, effortless kindness. She'd watched him walk down the street, sipping his coffee, headed toward the subway. She could have gone about her day, could have written it off as a nice moment. But Mara didn't believe in coincidence, she believed in patterns and in people. The best innovations, the most life-changing ideas, came from moments just like this. She followed him. Jason didn't notice her behind him, seated a few tables away at the community center later that week. He volunteered there every Wednesday, helping out with the after-school youth program. His life was mostly quiet and responsibility-filled. He worked hard, sent money back home, and kept his brother out of trouble. No dreams too big, just survival and service. Mara sat in the back, listening to the way he spoke to the kids. He was patient, quick to laugh, and never talked down to them. When one boy broke down crying after missing a shot during a basketball game, Jason knelt beside him and said, "You know how many times I miss in a day? That's how I learn. That's how I win." It wasn't about coffee anymore. Mara had seen enough. The next day, he got a call he didn't expect from an unknown number. Jason Wells? Yeah. This is Mara Lynn Hart. He paused. The woman from the coffee shop. She chuckled softly, among other things. I'd like to meet with you. There's something I want to talk to you about. A potential opportunity. Jason. Almost hung up. It sounded like a scam. I'm the CEO of Linhart Innovations, she added. Look me up if you want. I'll wait. He did. And when he realized who she was, what she was, his chest tightened. The CEO of $1 billion company. Why would she want to meet him? They met at the same coffee shop a week later. This time, she paid. Why me? Jason asked, still baffled. Mara stirred her tea slowly. Because the world needs more people like you in the rooms where decisions are made. I've spent my life building things, Jason. Products, programs, systems, but they mean nothing without empathy, integrity, people who know what it's like to go without and still give. He blinked. I don't know anything about tech. You don't need to. What you have can't be taught. The rest will train you. She laid out a plan, an internal mentorship program she was launching for underrepresented leaders. He'd be one of the first candidates, paid to learn. Guided directly by her and other executives. Not charity-investment. Jason stared at her. You're serious. I watched you. I see you. It's time the world did too. The journey wasn't easy. Jason struggled in the beginning, grappling with imposter syndrome, corporate jargon, and boardroom politics. There were days he almost quit, days he sat in his apartment, head in hands, thinking he didn't belong. But Mara never let him fall far. She mentored him fiercely, but kindly, pushing him to speak up, to challenge, to believe. You already have what they don't, she told him once, perspective. The rest is just vocabulary. He began to thrive. His ideas, especially ones around community impact and ethical development, gained traction. Executives listened, investors nodded. Linhart Innovations began rolling out new products geared toward underserved neighborhoods. Job training apps, affordable smart tech for struggling families, resources for education and mental health. Jason became the face of a new arm of the company, Linhart Local, and with it, he began to see how a single voice, forged in hardship, could ripple out and change an industry. 3 years later, he stood on stage at a tech conference in front of thousands. I used to think $5 was just $5, he told them. But that morning, someone saw me as more than my worn hoodie and dirty boots. She didn't just change my life, she handed me the pen to write the next chapter of it. Mara was in the front row, pride in her eyes. He looked out at the crowd. We're not here to build apps or sell gadgets. We're here to build a future, one where kindness isn't rare. One where power isn't hoarded, one where someone who couldn't afford a coffee yesterday could be your CEO tomorrow. The audience rose in applause. That night, as they walked together under the city lights, Mara turned to him. Do you know why I really let my car decline that day? He looked at her, surprised. She smiled. I wanted to know who people really were when no one was watching. Jason laughed. So I passed your test. No, she said, bumping her shoulder against his. You wrote your own. And somewhere, in the quiet pulse of a city that never stopped moving, to people who had once been strangers in a coffee line, walked side by side, not as savior and saved, not as CEO and protege, but as partners in a story neither of them had expected. A story that all began with a simple, selfless act, a story that reminded the world. Kindness is never small. It's the beginning of everything.